Do you like painting small or tiny paintings? Because I'm absolutely obsessed with it. I don't usually paint larger than a 5 by 7. And even at that rate, 5 by 7 and 6 by 4 still feel a little big to me a lot of the time. Um, that's one of the reasons why I like ACEOs. This is an ACEO, which is 2.5 by 3.5 inches, but I have it taped off. So I have two rectangles. Each is about 1.25 inches by 1.75 inches. So a very tiny working area. I'm going to do two similar paintings, one with a few colors and one monochrome, just one color. So this type of brush here, where it has that little fine tip, and then here, like the full body brush, is really good for this because you can hold a bit of paint, but still get a fine point. This one is Da Vinci brand. I know Famui has a set, and I believe it's a bit on the inexpensive side. I don't think this one was too bad, but I honestly don't remember. I know it's a decent brand. Anyway, doesn't matter. Use what you want. You don't even have to use a brush like this. This is just really good for small painting. Okay, top image is going to be a few colors. So start with that. And I am just going to use this one brush instead of switching back and forth between like one for my background and then one for my details. I'm just going to use this for everything. All right, like that. I want you there. Okay, let's get my both backgrounds dry and I will be right back. Okay, so I did dry that with a heat tool, and I'm just gonna go along the edges of my tape, make sure it's still nice and compact, or not compact, but smoothly down on my paper. And let me move this over for a moment. I'm gonna cover this up. And actually, I'm gonna cover a little bit of the top of this up. I'm gonna start splattering down a variety. Why is that word so hard for me? Variety of colors. When you're working small or even tiny, you have to imply details more than actually show them. I mean, you could get a really teeny brush and really show every detail, but one of the things I like about small and tiny painting is the challenge of implying details. So by splattering down a few different colors, I'm hoping to imply a variety of plants, grass, flowers, something of that nature. So I'm just working with this set here. This is actually this paint set that I'm working with, if you're curious, is from Sketchbox. It's a Sketchbox signature set. So it came in one of their monthly boxes, which you can get if you wanted to. And I'm not affiliate with them, so this isn't like me trying to make a sale. I'm just letting you know you can order past boxes, and I believe this one is still available. It's artist grade paint. I really love this set. I love the colors, and I do think they're particularly great for fall and landscapes, but that's just what I like. So anyway, that's what I'm using, and I'm just gonna do a few different colors and see how they land. So the first color I put down for the sky on this top one is or was cerulean blue. Oh, I cannot talk today. Um, and now I'm grabbing a little bit of the color. It's called pumpkin. Do a little splattering of that. I want some big dots and little dots, so. And then I'm actually gonna let those dots dry before I do the next color because I don't want the dots to start blending too much. If if wet dots or splatters of paint keep hitting other wet splatters. So I'm gonna let this just dry really quickly, and then I'll do the next layer of splattering. I got that layer mostly dry, and like if a couple of the bigger dots are still wet, I don't mind a little bit of blending and bleeding. I just didn't want the whole thing to turn into one mixed color. So now I'm gonna go into, it's called chestnut brown. Some of that on my brush. I know you can't see that part, but and a little more splattering. Oop, well, that's getting some nice big drops. That's actually good. I want that kind of variety in the size. Okay, and with that partially or mostly dry, I'm going to dip into the yellow ochre, splatter some of that on. So I thought, hold on, hold on. There we go. All right, and now we have an emerald green in this set, so I'm just going to splatter on some of that. And this will be the last splatter layer. Everything else will be more intentional. Okay, we'll splatter that. And this I want to be the heaviest because I want it to be filled in with green, like there's a lot of grassiness in between the flowers. Okay, and now I'm going to leave the bottom one covered just so I don't have any accident there. And now I'm going to go into the emerald green and start intentionally placing what hopefully looks like some blades of grass or flower stems or anything like that. Just some loose, wispy. Actually, might need a little more water here. Getting this right is really a balancing act because if your brush is too wet, you're just going to have a big mess. But if your brush is too dry, it's going to give that kind of, what's it called, like scumbling look, like that scratchy look, which can be really great when you need it. But for this, I just want it to look like nice, sharp blades. So yeah, it's just that right balance of wet and not too wet. And then just keep going back and adding. I like to make sure the blades of grass lean and not all in the same direction. So little left, little right. And some can just go kind of straight up. And thicken it up at the bottom. You don't really want to see too much sky in between your whatever grass, flowers, whatever at the bottom, but up top you definitely want to let some sky shine through. And then when you get somewhere like that, whatever you think, I think I'll stop there. Now I'm going to go in and I'm going to use some pen white ink. I did this in a recent video where I did a similar kind of painting. And I often reach for this Dr. P.H. Martin pen white. And I'm going to do that again today. And what I did, I could use the same brush that I've been using actually. The last time I used a quill brush because it has a nice sharp point. But oh, this doesn't want to open. Hold on. Okay, there we go. What I usually do, I just use a scrap piece of watercolor paper, something that will hold up. I don't want all the ink just like going through it. I want to be able to, so I add a little. And then I get some water on my brush to dilute this just a little bit, just to give it a little more flow. And I just mix my brush in it. And when I get it all on the brush, I start pulling back like this to make sure that I don't have any big blobs anywhere. Because I want to avoid any massive drips happening. And I just go to my painting and see how the consistency is and start adding little white dots to represent flowers. And you can have a few lower. Definitely put a few lower, a few random little dots. You could even do some splatter down here. No real rule to this. Whatever looks good to you. So wherever you want to put it. And we'll put some on this tall one here. Here. Okay. And I think we're going to leave that one at that. So I'm just going to dry this really quickly off camera. So that way, when I get to the bottom, I can move this up and I don't mess up anything that I've done here. So I'll be right back again. So the top is dry enough. I can put this over it without messing it up. And now we're going to do the same thing, but only in one color. So a monochrome painting, and I've chosen Payne's Gray. It is one of my go-to colors when doing monochrome painting, but you can experiment, and you should experiment. I love trying different individual colors to paint with, but I definitely, like I said, I have my go-to colors. Payne's Gray is one of them, indigo, sepia, etc. And let's see what our water to paint ratio is. Pretty good. Oh yeah, very good. And since we're just doing one color, I don't have to worry about letting this dry because I don't have to worry about color mixing, right? It's just the one color. So just gonna get some more paint on my brush and start putting in my grassy area. Again, I just want to work on filling in this bottom area a little bit. Don't really want the sky to show through on the bottom areas, just up between the tops of the blades of grass. And we're going to add white, even though I did say monochrome, but I am going to add the white, so technically duochrome. And I'm just going to dry this first so the white doesn't mix in with the Payne's Gray. Okay, and again, just wherever you see fit. Okay, and now this is one of the funnest parts. Creating art is a lot of fun, but this tape removal, although normally I fail when I'm removing tape, like it slips out of my hand or it rips or something, but even with that said, the tape reveal is like the funnest part. See, this one's ripping. That's okay. Wait. Wrong order. Oh, yeah, look at that. Look at that. I don't know, something about painting tiny is so satisfying, so fun. It's a unique challenge to try to, you know, express what you're trying to express or get out there what you're trying to get out there, but so small. And, I don't know, something about tiny paintings, they just pop. They just kind of really, I don't know, they speak to me. So, anyway, I'll see you next time. I hope you enjoyed. Bye.